Here comes a new challenger!
When it comes to first-person shooter reps, who's the first character you'll usually think of? Well, there's Chief, but there is another, and that, my friends, is Doom Guy, or Doom Slayer, whatever he's called nowadays. But Doom as a franchise is legendary, one of the most legendary I've ever seen. And while I could go on and on about its history and all that, I think there are far better videos for that than what I can provide. And so for me, and for your best interest, if you want to learn more about Doom, I'll be having a link to a wonderful video talking about the series and how far it's really gotten, you know. I mean, it went from a small PC game, you know, that became one of the biggest PC games of all time. Probably the biggest, if I recall that correctly. Though, of course, when it comes to first-person shooters, Doom has had an unfortunate history. After 1 and 2, there was 64, but 64 could not run. Until now, you can purchase 64, and it is a wonderful game, but it's much different from Doom 1 and 2, I'll tell you that much. Doom 3 kind of followed in Doom 64's footsteps, and while Doom 3 isn't a bad game per se, it's not my cup of tea, especially when it comes to Doom. Doom needed a reboot, and there it did, Doom 2016, and thereafter, Doom Eternal. The gameplay was, well, wonderful. However, I will say that I am not a fan of what, well, id Software done with the modern Doom games. I'm more of a fan of classic 1 and 2 Doom, where you don't even have to kill any of the monsters, you could just go right past through the levels. That's what made it fun, speedrunning the levels, how fast you can get through them. It was always interesting, getting around enemies, having all these sorts of challenges, it was great. Yet, with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, you don't really have that. It's basically just enter room, beat enemies, and there you go. But still, Doom's importance is not to be trifled with, and therefore deserves representation in Smash, dare I say, a character even. Yes, it was already said that they probably won't be getting a character. But as I've said previously, I never trust interviews at all. I think interviews are painful in themselves. They're a double-edged sword because, yeah, they could be telling the truth and therefore your character is shot down, but at the same time your character can reappear and maybe they get in Smash and you're happy, right? It's always a gamble, and so I don't listen to interviews. Make that one of your goals too. Never listen to an interview, because interviews are just bad vibes in general. So I hope you guys can agree with me on that, but you don't have to, of course, everyone to each their own. As I've said in previous videos, I fully believe in the idea that every character has just as much of a chance as any other. So for me to sit here and say, I don't think Doom has a chance because of X interview, would be, well, hypocritical of me. I think it's foolish. And so for me, you know, the way I see it, hey, maybe things could have changed. But I'm not here to give hope for Doom fans. What I'm really just here to say is that Doom deserves representation. I'd argue more than Chief. While Chief in himself is a very big icon in terms of first-person shooters, you know, online gaming, Halo in itself is very impactful just as well as Doom, I would still say Doom deserves it more. Despite Doom's, well, gore and such, I would still appreciate Doom to be in Smash a lot more, but that's just me, that's my personal opinion. But if we do get Chief, I'd be happy with it. Mind you, I never grew up with the Doom series, never once in my life. Okay, well, I did see/play Doom 3 when I was much younger. Very young, but I don't remember much of it. That was most of my experience with Doom, but when the discussions about Doom Guy getting into Smash came around, well, I had to see what was up. And so I bought Doom 1 and loved it. I played Doom 2 and I loved it as well. And I'm playing Doom 64 and I don't love it as much because of how the game is designed in comparison, but I still think it's a wonderful experience to go through. Regardless of your opinions on the Doom series, I think it's important to note that it has and will always be a game that has left an everlasting impact. So, at least in my personal opinion, Doom definitely deserves more than just spirits, but that's just me. With that all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please take care of yourselves. 1,000 before the end of the year. Please sub. Be great. You know, the red button will always be there, and so shall I. So, take care. Peace.
Coming through.